Hi, Stacy. The assignment here, 5.3, that I chose to do wasn't real clear if we were supposed to actually make the short presentation or just kind of explain how we would build one. So I just decided to do the presentation to get me a little more practice and also to really increase my comfort level. I hope you don't mind. It just seemed a little more fitting to do it this way. For this assignment, we were asked to, one, pick a topic, two, visualize the audience that we would present the topic to, pick a persuasive pattern that would be appropriate, and then describe some of the supporting evidence that we'd use to persuade that audience to accept our viewpoint. I chose from the list of 8 different topics that were available in the book that managers should be concerned about the personal problems of their employees. The audience that I chose to argue this topic to would be a room full of managers or some people at that level or that caliber. The setting would be something you'd find at maybe like a DuPont training seminar or a company training class, skill path workshops, or even some sort of leadership seminar, or even a webinar for that matter. Of the 3 persuasive patterns, state the problem and prove it, problem solving, or psychological progressive, I felt that state the problem and prove it would be the most appropriate. This pattern is the better choice because it's already familiar to the group being trained, or they've heard the argument before. It's not a new idea that needs to be introduced gradually and then, further explored. It's almost like a courtroom style in that someone is trying to lead the people or sway the people to a specific conclusion or view. One of the reasons I really like this pattern for the choice is that it really only follows 3 steps. The first step is you state your conclusion first, or what your central thesis is in the beginning. For this particular one, it was managers should be concerned about the personal problems of their employees. The second part of this is you present your supporting evidence and back it up. This could be in the form of graphs and charts data, or it could be in the form of reasoning and statistics, but probably the most compelling evidence in related to personal experiences, or more specifically, how the speaker can relate those experiences back to the group in a meaningful way. For example, I may introduce a story. Stories seem to grab people's attention. An employee who ran over his dog one day called in work to lay off and wasn't coming in. But knowing the employee's struggles with his family prior to this, our manager, allowed the gentleman to take the time off that he needed in order to grieve. And that's a true story, and that just goes back to the point of managers knowing their employees and what's going on in their lives, not just in their work life, but also in their personal life. Another story, which is also true, is we had a gentleman, his name was Chad, and he was a great employee. He never missed work. And one day he came in and just seemed distracted and seemed off. But because our manager knew Chad's struggles and what he was going through and what was going on in his family, he told Chad to leave. And none of us knew why. We found out later that Chad's wife had been in the hospital for several days and was undergoing surgery. And we didn't know at the time if that surgery would even save her life. But because my manager knew Chad's struggles, he was able to help him make the right decision to return back to the hospital. Graphs and charts and reasoning and statistics, those are all great things that really touch our rational side. But the meaningful side comes when we touch the emotional aspects of someone's life. And that's what really converts them over to, or sways them over to, our viewpoint. The third and final step here is to summarize your thesis. In this case, it was managers should be concerned about the personal problems of their employees. And you'll want to repeat the proposition or why you're trying to get them over to your side. This can be done by highlighting the emotionally charged aspects of the stories. Facts and figures are always great and they play on the rational side, but stories are more relatable and more easily recalled. Finally, don't introduce any new evidence to them. Leave them with what you have, and as they say in the courtroom, you just let your case rest.